Hi everyone and welcome to Linger Longer with Books. My name's Catherine and in this week's video I'm going to be chatting about some perfect autumn picks. Firstly, I wanted to welcome viewers out there, whether you're returning or you're new. For those who have been watching my channel for a little while, you'll be aware that I live in the UK on the south coast of England. And for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, yesterday marked the start of the autumn equinox, which is officially the end of summer and the start of autumn. And I have to say that autumn and winter, although I won't touch much on winter in this video, are my favourite seasons of the year. Don't get me wrong, I do love spring and summer for their own reasons, but I think for me there is a real sense of coziness at this time of year, and that is really evocative in the Danish term that is given to hygge, which is this sense of coziness, and that really, like I said, it really conjures up sense of comfort and kind of slowing down a little bit and being with loved ones indoors and outdoors, just embracing things like perhaps a movie day with a bowl of popcorn. You've got things like snuggling up, if you're lucky enough to have a log fire, in your pajamas with your current read, and making soup, looking out at the beautiful, beautiful night sky. And also not forgetting the comfort food that we celebrate as well at this time of year. And I think if I can find it, there is a beautiful picture of some cinnamon buns. Let's face it, I don't think you can go wrong with some cinnamon buns in your life, especially at this time of year. So I think for me at this time of year, my reading habits really do reflect that sense of coziness, and I find myself dipping towards or veering towards certain genres. So I have picked out a handful of books here across different genres that I thought would be perfect autumn picks for you in the coming weeks. So let's go take a look. Okay, first up, I've gone with what I call formulaic, which is probably a bit mean, but essentially that is kind of crime and thrillers where they have got a particular kind of beginning, middle and end, that there is some sense of drama, there is some turmoil, there is some sort of jeopardy, but essentially as the reader you're guided through from a real sort of unsettling, kind of awkward or sort of horrible place through to some sort of resolution. There is some formula to it, and for me, I think I take comfort from that, and that is a word that I'll be using throughout this video, is comfort. And not surprisingly, I've turned to the Queen of Crime, Agatha Christie, and picked out a couple of her books that I own. So this one is The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side. This is one of Agatha's later novels, written in 1962, I believe. And it is the story of a Hollywood star called Marina Gregg. She is filming a film in England at the time when we come into seeing her sort of world, and there is a dark past to her story, which is triggered by someone that she meets, an English woman that she meets, and this is a Miss Marple story, I should have said, for those of you who are sort of keen to know the detectives. Although we know with Agatha there's Poirot, there's Marple, there's Tommy and Tuppence, there's all sorts of detectives and sleuths, and there are some of her books published without, one of my favourites being And Then There Were None. So this, I thought I would highlight, is a brilliant story. It's definitely one to kind of get stuck into at this time of year. There is a brilliant film adaptation of The Mirror Cracked, some of you might be familiar with. It was filmed in the 80s. It features Elizabeth Taylor as Marina Gregg. It features Rock Hudson as her husband, Angela Lansbury as Miss Marple, and Edward Fox is her chief inspector nephew. So and that is just a standout stellar cast, once in a lifetime kind of cast from the 1980s. So I would highly recommend reading this book as well as watching the film. Next up in the kind of crime thriller space is The Mousetrap, a play written by Agatha Christie. This is my beautiful 70th anniversary edition, which has lovely, lovely end papers, obviously, of a mouse, and a very cute mouse. I'm not a fan of mice in general, but this looks like quite a charming one as it is. So The Mousetrap is a play that was first brought to the London stage in the 1950s. I think technically it's one of the longest running plays in UK, if not the world. And for me, I have seen The Mousetrap on stage, and I have read The Mousetrap several times now. And for me, it is this brilliant kind of plot of sort of a manor house full of strangers. They're all a little bit suspicious of one another. They're all brought together in a sort of a snowstorm, which puts all of them on edge. And before long, there is a murder. And for me, I think the beauty of seeing it on stage as well as reading this play manuscript is that each time you see it or you read it, you get something new from it every time. It's very, very chilling. It's obviously quite a short play, but it's just how Agatha Christie kind of writes the characters, what they do say in terms of the dialogue, what is left out purposely in terms of that sense of jeopardy and that unsettled feeling, who's done it, who has got a very dark past. Well, most of the characters, let's face it, and how the weather is a character in itself. People are trapped, they cannot reach help, and it's just a fantastic play. So I would highly recommend, if you haven't seen it on stage, I think it's been touring the UK, but go see it in London. And pick up a play of a sort of a version of the play from your local library or your bookshop. But that is a great one that I find dipping into each autumn. So there you go. That is The Mousetrap by Agatha Christie. My next choice is what I call kind of a nostalgic pick, sort of resonating from my childhood, and that is Ethel and Ernest by Raymond Briggs. You can tell that this is a brilliant find from a charity shop because I've left the sticker on. I know that is awful to some people, but I like to keep the stickers on because it reminds me of how much I paid. But this is well known to UK readers. I think, when was it first published? It looks like 1988. I could be wrong. I could be absolutely wrong on that. Please, this is published by Jonathan Cape in London. But for those of you who aren't familiar with Ethel and Ernest, it is hailed as an utterly original, deeply moving, and very funny story of Raymond Briggs's parents from their first chance encounter to their deaths. And it's told in Briggs's unique strip cartoon format. And what I would say about autumn time is, for me, it's a time where you probably I don't really want to read as many dense or kind of really plot heavy books. Like I said before, I do dip between fiction and non-fiction, but for this one, this is absolutely enjoyable because you have the beautiful coloured illustrations, you have the kind of speech bubbles, the dialogue bubbles, and what's happening that drives you forward across every page. This book is really full of emotion. It's tender. There's love, there's bereavement, there's all sorts. And it's just obviously a very kind of quick read for you to kind of digest in one sitting, perhaps. But I just thought that I would highlight it because autumn, I think, is just a time where I think you can just read sort of a whole range of genres. I think, like, for summertime, we perhaps go to beach reads and other genres, but for autumn, there is, I think, definitely a gear shift in what we're reading. So that for me is, again, a comforting, nostalgic pick for me. That's Ethel and Ernest by Raymond Briggs. Staying on the kind of illustration theme, I have picked out a beautiful book that I've owned for a couple of years now, and that's The Book Cat by Polly Faber, and it's been illustrated by Clara Vulliamy. This book I happened just by pure chance to see in the White Horse bookshop in Marlborough when I was there a couple of years ago for one of the literary festivals. I've been a few times now and really enjoyed it, and I always like to to kind of buy a souvenir book from the bookshop as a memory and a keepsake. So for that particular year, I picked The Book Cat, and first off, it's a beautiful, beautiful edition. It's quite a long hardback. I don't know quite kind of technically what size that you would call this. It's published by Faber, of course, given Polly's kind of family history. But it is at the heart of it, the Book Cat is a tale of cats during the Blitz in London. That's World War II, for any who aren't aware of what the sort of the Blitz is about. But there is friendship, there is camaraderie between cats, and I think there is that love of animals with humans as well, and their welfare, because I think it's quite easy to forget, although the horrendous times of the Second World War, that animals were displaced, especially in cityscapes such as London. This is really tenderly told. There is obviously just sad and forlorn and lonely little cats, but again, how they venture out into the human world in London, and kind of how they find comfort in the Faber offices. They find a cosy spot, a safe spot, dry and warm, and they basically have a lovely time. They end up with nice food to eat. They end up with a really happy time dancing. It's just a really joyful book, and like I said, it's very delicately kind of balanced between the kind of the underlying kind of time that it's set, but a real sense of love for cats and their kind of enduring kind of presence in each of our lives. I just thought that is a lovely book to read, perhaps with older children that you might have, or to read it through adult eyes. So there you go, that is The Book Cat by Polly Faber. Now I'm going to turn to cooking, and that's because I, thanks to a local library sale quite recently, I picked up this book, Autumn and Winter, Cooking with a Veg Box, and this was originally published by Riverford Organic Farmers. I scooped it up for £1. It's in fantastic condition, and I think it is a sort of a no-brainer at this time of year. A lot of us are shifting not only our reading habits but our eating habits as well, and I know for myself I'm starting to kind of crave soups and casseroles and broths and things like that, and some really kind of healthy, wholesome, tasty veg of but knowing that they're cooked and available in season, not buying kind of out of season. So inside cover has got a beautiful list of what is kind of is in season through these particular months. So for us right now, September to November, there's things like onions, parsnips, potatoes, spinach, sweet corn, kale, cauliflower. I'm a big fan of most of those vegetables, absolutely. And this is just a beautiful, beautiful book of how each of these kind of seasonal veg are kind of prepared, how you can eat them, so like roast, puree, boil, steam, and then it has got some beautiful, beautiful recipes. So you've got whole roasted onions with thyme. Let's have a look. Oh, look at those roast potatoes with lemon, rosemary and thyme. It's really got something for everyone in this book. Celeriac, that is one I'm not confident with. Cauliflower, butter beans and kale. Oh yeah, and carrot and coriander soup. So I would really recommend just considering kind of what you can kind of get hold of from the shops, what you could have in your cupboards and your fridges to enjoy this autumn, because I do think there's something lovely about cozying up with a bowl of soup, homemade soup, as well as your current read. So there you go. This is a lovely book. Let me know in the comments below if you've got any similar seasonal cooking books to do with autumn especially, if there's any particular autumn recipes that you recommend. But there you go, that is Autumn and Winter Cooking with a Veg Box, and that's Riverford Companion. And isn't that just gorgeous, that photography and that orange, love. But there you go, that is in terms of comfort and food and all things to do with yumminess and nourishing our bodies as well as our minds with the reading. Okay, last but not least, I have picked out a couple of books that I am guilty that I haven't yet read, but really kind of signal coziness, perhaps a little bit of romance, just light-hearted fiction to enjoy at this time of year. So I have the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore and the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, both by Laurie Gilmore. And I do have to say, the reason that these two caught my eye initially online was the sprayed edges. Look how gorgeous that is. How do they do it? That is just stunning. If you know of any sort of videos that really kind of celebrate how books end up with these beautiful sprayed edges, then let me know. This is the perfect pumpkin orange shade. Oh, and it's got some beautiful inside end papers as well. Oh yeah, look at that. That's definitely, oh no, it's being a bit clumsy. That's definitely very autumny to me. So these, I won't sort of go too much into the blurbs, but it sounds like it's featuring a secret message turns up hidden in a book in the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. Hazel can't understand it. As more secret codes appear, she decides to follow the trail of clues. She just needs someone to help her out. And then it sounds like there's a rather gorgeous and outgoing fisherman called Noah who turns up. And what's this one about? Jeannie's aunt gifts her the beloved Pumpkin Spice Cafe in the small town of Dream Harbour. Jeannie jumps at the chance for a fresh start away from her very dull desk job. And Logan is a local farmer who avoids Dream Harbour's gossip at all costs. But Jeannie's arrival disrupts Logan's routine, and he wants nothing to do with the irritatingly upbeat new girl, except that he finds himself inexplicably drawn to her. Okay, I'm there for a little bit of autumn romance. Don't know if you are. But there you go. This is a whole kind of mixture of books that I recommend that you read this autumn. Let me know in the comments below kind of what you think of this selection. These are my perfect autumn picks. I think if you have been watching this far, firstly, thank you, as always, for taking the time out to listen to me. I think if you are out there, then leave me a little mouse emoji. So I know that you kind of made it this far. Let me know. I'd love to know what books you're reading this autumn. If you've got a particular genres that you go to, if like me, you kind of have a spread of different genres during September and October. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I look forward to speaking with you next week. But until then, have a brilliant week of reading ahead. I hope you get some downtime to enjoy some pages, whether that's kind of paperback, hardback or audiobook. But until next time, take care and bye for now.